There's a $7 trillion theft happening right now, and you're the victim. By 2030, your dollar will be worth 40 cents. Not because of inflation, because of a pattern that's happened twice before, 1650 and 1944. It's happening again, right now, and nobody's telling you. I'm going to show you 5 stages. Spain followed them, Britain followed them. America is at stage 4 right now. History says stage 5 takes 3 to 5 years. That means 2028 to 2030. Everything you saved, everything you worked for, transferred to another country while you were scrolling Instagram. Let me show you the math, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. 1620, Madrid. King Philip IV sits in his palace watching silver ships arrive from Bolivia, 200 tons every month. He turns to his advisor. Spain will rule for 1,000 years. 20 years later, Philip is selling the crown jewels to pay German bankers. His own jewelry, gone. This was stage 1. Peak power. Spanish silver was the world's money. Everyone needed it. They thought it would last forever. They were wrong. Stage 2. Overextension. By 1630, Spain is fighting 4 wars simultaneously. Military spending consumes 70% of all revenue. 70% just to stay relevant. Stage 3. Debt accumulation. 1557, Spain defaults. 1560, they default again. 1575, third default. They're borrowing at 40% interest just to pay last month's bills. Stage 4. Currency debasement. 1600, a Spanish real contains 25 grams of silver. 1650, 14 grams. They cut the silver by 45%. Merchants start refusing Spanish money. It's worthless. Stage 5. Reserve status loss. By 1650, the Dutch guilder replaces the Spanish real. Spain goes from superpower to begging for loans. They never recovered, ever. Timeline. Stage 4 started 1600. Stage 5 completed 1650. 50 years. Now watch Britain do the exact same thing but faster. 1944. London controls 25% of Earth. The pound sterling is the global currency. They think they're invincible. Stage 1. Peak power. Post-World War I Britain seems unstoppable. Largest navy. Gold-backed currency. Global trade flows through London. Stage 2. Overextension. The empire is bleeding money. India requires 50,000 troops. Palestine in revolt. Ireland fighting. Defending colonies costs more than they generate. Stage 3. Debt accumulation. World War I cost $50 billion. By 1945, they owe America $31 billion. John Maynard Keynes writes a memo, quote, "We are virtually bankrupt," end quote. Britain's chief economist just admitted they're broke. Stage 4. Currency debasement. September 19, 1949. Britain devalues the pound 30% overnight. Your savings just lost 30% while you slept. Stage 5. Reserve status loss. July 1944. Bretton Woods. 44 nations vote. Dollar becomes the world's reserve currency. Not the pound. Britain begged. Didn't matter. America won. Timeline. Devaluation 1949. By 1956, Suez Crisis. Britain can't invade Egypt without American permission. Stage 5 completed in 7 years. 7. What happened to British families? Middle class destroyed. Savings worthless. By 1976, Britain is begging the IMF for loans. The country that ruled the world is on welfare. Different century, different war, same 5 stages, same result. Now look at America, right now, 2025. Stage 1. Peak power. Post-World War II dominance. Everyone needs dollars for oil, for trade for everything. Stage 2. Overextension. 750 military bases in 80 countries. 8 trillion on Afghanistan and Iraq. Now funding Ukraine, Israel, everyone. Defense spending $886 billion in 2024, more than the next 10 countries combined. We're paying to defend the world while our bridges collapse. Stage 3. Debt accumulation. This is terrifying. US debt $36 trillion. January 2025. 122% of GDP. Interest payments $1.1 trillion annually. Just interest. More than defense spending. More than Medicare. By 2028 interest hits $1.7 trillion. We're borrowing money to pay interest on money we borrow to pay interest. There's no way out. Stage 4. Currency debasement. Federal Reserve printed $4.5 trillion since 2020. M2 money supply up 40%. Fastest peacetime expansion in history. Your dollar lost 20% of purchasing power since 2020. 20%. That's not inflation. That's currency destruction. Stage 5. This is happening right now and everyone's pretending it's not. November 2024. BRICS expands. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, adding Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia. 45% of global population. 36% of global GDP. Their stated goal, quote, reduce dependence on the dollar, end quote. They're done with dollars. China and Saudi Arabia oil deals settled in yuan, not dollars. The petrodollar is dying. Saudi Arabia, our ally for 50 years, just joined BRICS. They're accepting yuan for oil. For 50 years, if you wanted oil, you needed dollars. That created artificial dollar demand. That's why we could print money without consequences. Saudi Arabia just said we'll take yuan. The petrodollar is dead. Central banks bought 1,037 tons of gold in 2024. Record. China bought gold 18 consecutive months. Russia buying. India buying. They know something you don't. Timeline. Stage 4 began 2020. Stage 5 started 2023-2024. Spain took 50 years because horses. Britain took 7 years because telegraphs. How long for America? We have instant global markets. High-frequency trading. 3 to 5 years, 2028 to 2030. Let me break down exactly where we are. Stage 1 peak power. Spain 1600 check. Britain 1920 check. US a 2000 check. Current US a 2025 fading check. Stage 2 overextension. Spain 4 front wars check. Britain empire bleeding money check. US a 750 bases check. Stage 3 debt. Spain multiple defaults check. Britain 31 billion owed check. US a 36 trillion check. Stage 4 debasement. Spain 45% silver cup check. Britain 30% overnight devaluation check. US a 4.5 trillion printed 20% purchasing power loss check. Stage 5 reserve loss. Spain Dutch guilder replaces real check. Britain dollar replaces pound check. US a BRICS expansion yuan oil deals in progress. 4 out of 5 stages complete. We're in the final stage right now. Here's what's happening. The proof stage 5 is live. BRICS payment system launched October 2024. Blockchain based. Bypasses SWIFT, operational now. SWIFT is how dollars dominate. If BRICS trades without SWIFT, they don't need dollars. Demand collapses. China's gold, officially 2,300 tons. Analysts say 4,000 unreported. They're preparing for post-dollar world. Saudi pivot. December 2024 full BRICS member. $7 billion oil deal in yuan. The country that created the petrodollar just abandoned it. Dollar reserves falling. IMF data 59% down from 73% in 2001. 2 trillion already fled dollars. Warren Buffett, $325 billion in cash Q3 2024. Record high. Sold 600 million Apple shares. Last time Buffett went this heavy to cash. 2007, 12 months before financial crisis. He's seeing it again. Federal interest. 1.1 trillion just on interest. 15% of all revenue. By 2028, 20%. Debt spiral locked in. Now here's how the dominoes fall and why you should be terrified. If Stage 5 completes international trade, doesn't need dollars. BRICS settles in yuan. Treasury demand collapses. Government has two options. Option A, raise rates to attract buyers. If rates hit 10%, we can't afford interest. Game over. Option B, Fed prints to buy treasuries. That's Weimar Germany. Hyperinflation. Both destroy the dollar. We're trapped. Wealth transfers to nations with fundamentals. Who? China. 18 trillion GDP, 77% debt to GDP lower than our 122. 28% of global manufacturing. 4,000 tons gold. Belt and Road creating yuan demand. 5G AI EV dominance. But demographics dying. Real estate bubble. Youth unemployment 20%. India. 4 trillion GDP, going to 7 by 2030. Median age 28. 1.4 billion people. Young workforce. Apple Samsung moving from China to India. UPI most advanced payment system globally, but too small for reserve currency. Too unstable. Saudi UAE 1.7 trillion sovereign wealth. 17% global oil. Building post-oil economy. But can't be reserve currency. Too small. US post-reset. Still has tech. Still has military. But becomes one of several powers, not the power. Like Britain after 1944. Still here. Just not ruling anything. By 2030, whoever controls the new reserve currency becomes richest. Spain lost to Netherlands. Britain lost to America. America loses to who? Math says China. Not because they're perfect, because they're the only economy big enough, stable enough, with enough trade to be reserve currency. Dual system by 2030. Dollar 35% down from 59. Yuan 25% up from 3. China wins. Now what this means for you? Your job. Finance law, consulting, anything tied to US dominance contracts. Those jobs exist because of dollar dominance. When that ends, they move to Shanghai, Singapore, Mumbai. If your healthcare trades teaching you're safer, but wages lose value as dollar dies. Your savings. 401k in S and P500. Companies earn in dollars. When dollar loses 40%, your retirement loses 40%. This destroyed British middle class 1945 to 56. Pound lost 50%. People who saved 40 years retired broke. Your investments. Real estate in finance cities drops 30 to 40%. New York, San Francisco, Seattle, Miami. When money leaves, property craters. Stocks with global revenue survive. Domestic-only companies die. Gold explodes. 1968 to 80 during dollar crisis, gold went from 35 to 850. 2,400% gain. When currencies fail, hard assets win. Your children. The language that matters in 2035 might not be English. Mandarin. Hindi. The skills that matter are CEM, coding adaptability. Not liberal arts degrees. Your safety. When people feel poorer, they blame someone. Spain 1600s Inquisition, religious persecution. Britain 60s, 70s strikes, class warfare. America 2025 to 35. We're already seeing polarization. When savings evaporate, when jobs vanish, that anger explodes. Stage 5 means your community. Dollar-dependent cities contract. New York finance, DC government, Seattle tech. London lost 50,000 finance jobs 1950s to 70s. Brain drain. Property collapsed. Your country. We dropped from hegemon to one of several. Sanctions stopped working. We sanctioned Russia, they trade in yuan. Sanctioned Iran, they joined BRICS sanctions, only work with dollar dominance. Military without economic power unsustainable. Britain 1945 largest navy. 1956 can't invade Egypt without permission. 10 years from superpower to subordinate. Global order. UN, IMF, World Bank, built on dollar supremacy. When dollar falls, these collapse, replaced by Chinese institutions. Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, BRICS Bank. Shanghai Cooperation. America isn't even a member. Stage 5 isn't just economics. Total world order restructuring. And it's fast. Britain thought they'd soft land. 1956 Suez, they realized America owned them. 11 years. America, we have faster markets, faster capital flows. 3 to 5 years, maybe less. Timeline. When does stage 5 complete? Spain 50 years horse speed, Britain 7 years telegraph speed, US a computer speed, 24/7 markets algorithmic trading. Math says 2028 to 2030. 3 to 5 years from now. Your lifetime. Your kid's childhood. Triggers that accelerate it. Banking crisis. More SVB collapses. Fed prints trillion. Stage 5 completes in months. BRICS gold currency. Announced at 2025 Russia summit. New Bretton Woods. Immediate transfer. Saudi full petrodollar exit. All oil sales multi-currency. Dollar demand craters overnight. Debt ceiling crisis. Congress can't raise ceiling. US defaults. Reserve status gone instantly. China invades Taiwan. We sanction. They dump 800 billion treasuries. Rates spike to 12%. We can't afford interest. Game over. Any trigger. Stage 5 completes in months, not years. Can it be delayed? Fed stops printing. Politically impossible. BRICS collapses. Not happening, they're growing. China crashes. They have 3 trillion reserves. Mathematical reality. 36 trillion debt. 1.1 trillion interest. Growing 2 trillion per year. No political will to cut. Can't tax enough. 2 options. Keep printing. That's stage 5. Default. That's also stage 5. We're trapped. Math is locked. By 2030 richest country, determined by reserve currency control. China 60%. India 25%. US co-dominance 15%. 5 stages. Spain, Britain, America all followed. US at stage 4 complete. Stage 5 in progress. Modern economies complete stage 5 in 3 to 5 years, 2028 to 2030. China becomes richest by total power. India by growth. America becomes one of several, not the one. But nobody's telling you how to protect yourself. Dutch merchants positioned before Spain fell. American investors positioned before Britain fell. Gold foreign currency emerging markets before the crowd knows. That's how you survive a reserve currency collapse. The people who get rich in 2030 are the people who see the pattern in 2025. You just saw it. You can't unsee it. The question is, what are you going to do about it?